Alright, I hope you can hear me. I'm doing some commentary now. So, RealBread is getting 2 Chosen runes to get its items back, and DCR leaving Frigate. RealBread saved a lot of time just with doing the out-of-bounds escape, which skips 2 cutscenes, that saves 45 seconds RTA. But it can also save a lot of in-game time depending on how well you do the wall crawl. So yeah, we're very early in the game, and even though RealBread is like about a minute ahead, I think, everything can change later on in in-game and mid-game. There are a lot of places where you can lose a lot of time. So yeah, the first thing you do in this game after the frigate is get all your items back because of item loss. That just takes like the first amount. And until then, it's just very basic movement: L jumping, a few dashes, rolling. Well, I guess I could introduce the runners a little bit. So on the left side we have DCR, who plays the game for a longer time, and he has put a lot of effort into this game lately and doing a lot of practice. And then we have on the right side RealBread, who is rather new to this game, but he improved very quickly and even beat me last race. So this could be a quite interesting race. RealBread doing a cool bunny hop strat, I like it. So on RealBread's side, you saw how I shot a missile at the missile lock there, which leads to a save station. He does that not because like he needs to save later on. He needs it because later on he will have to cancel a certain glitch which we call infinite speed, and therefore you need a cutscene that warps you, and a save station is a cutscene that warps you, so he will use that. DCR has a bit trouble getting to charge beam, losing some time. And on RealBread's side, he's fighting Side, or also in Saturdrome, which is his real name, but we call him Side because of the developer side who made this boss. And this boss has RNG. Basically, on the first phase, like the RNG depends on when it opens its sweet spot, and that can wait a lot of time. In the first cycle, it's 5 seconds you can lose, and on every other cycle, which are 3, you can lose 10 seconds each. So in the worst case you lose 35 seconds, and best case you save 35 seconds to the worst. But usually it's not that big. Usually it's like in a 10 seconds range. But I think RealBread got a really good slide there. I'm not quite sure though. And yeah, fighting this boss is just pretty simple, since you can just jump up to him and yeah, he can't hit you. It's also possible to do that without space jump, by doing a slope jump, or we also call them ghetto jumps, on the ground. Okay, RealBread is taking the safety save, which is a good idea because upcoming is a boss and a very important trick, which saves a lot of time. And that boss is Flagra, and the trick after that is really wild. You will see it pretty soon. Right, RealBread making the bomb jump over the gate first try. Usually you are supposed to scan 4 thingies and then the gate opens, but you can also just bomb jump up over it. I think that already got patched in 0.01, so yeah, only works on the original American release. And here we have Flagra, and as you can see, how you're supposed to fight this boss is you shoot a mirror, and yeah, then Flagra falls down, and then you can roll into one of those mothball tunnels and lay bombs. However, the bomb slots there are not actual bomb slots. There's just a trigger which you can hit with bombs, so you can just jump next to it and lay a bomb to hurt Flagra. And you can also dash to those bomb slots, which is pretty cool, but it's not as easy as it might look like. You actually need kind of really good dashes, and if you bend them wrong, then you also just end up in the wrong position and fall down. Alright, RealBread is finishing a decent Flagra fight. And yeah, we also like to call this boss cutscene, just because it's more cutscene than just actual gameplay. We were even thinking about skipping Barrier Suit and Flagra entirely for RTA purposes, but well, the problem is that you still need to get wild somehow. And you also would have to do very less Magmor, which also requires 2 E-tanks for Tess, 3 E-tanks for humans to even somehow do, and to somewhat safely do it, which is not really safe at all. You want to do it with 4 E-tanks. And I don't know if you can even get 5, but at that point it would be so extremely slow already. So now on RealBread's side, you will see a very important trick, which skips Superus and Spider Ball, and we call the trick Early Wild. So what he's going to do is he's going to drop down there and hitting a trigger which resets Lagar's room to the ghost fight, and then infinite bomb jump up. The reason why I can do an IBJ there is because you like get stuck in between the collision here, and it allows you to drop just slower. So you can, yeah, just infinite bomb jump up here. You usually can't do infinite bomb jumps in this game. It only works on certain places like this. And RealBread has a little bit of trouble there. But yeah, the problem with this trick is that if you fall down, like all the way down, then you're basically done. And usually this means reset in a normal run, because there's no way up unless you get Spider Ball. And if you get Spider Ball, then you can do a tricky bomb jump to get up. But that's also not very consistent, and so you usually also get super missiles as well. And that just takes quite a lot of time, and additionally you also have to do a huge detour. The test time for prime 80% is 0:37 in in-game time, and real time it's less than an hour. But the test does a lot of crazy things. It does power bombs before bombs, which is a extremely difficult trick that I think no one has ever done, like on console. So yeah, it's not used in runs, but for routing purposes, it makes the route just flow a lot better, and it cuts out an entire trip to Chozo runes. And oh, I haven't even mentioned the ghost fights. So the way you want to fight those ghosts is to have them in a stun lock like DCR did. So after they finish their like shooting animation, they fall down, and then they try to stand up, but you can shoot them again, and then they will fall down again. So if you time your charge shots correctly, you can chain them and just stun lock them until they are dead. And oh, DCR got quite unlucky there. So what sometimes happens is that the Chozo Ghost just kinda takes a lot of time until it dies. I don't know exactly why it happens, but I think it's like just if you kill it on a very certain frame or something like that. And yeah, with that you can actually lose a lot of time. And now in Magmar, it's just a lot of movement here. And I actually like this area quite a lot because it is very linear in a way, but it also has a lot of cool movement stuff. It's just get from A to B, and you can do dashes and bunny hops all over the place. And RealBread is getting the safety tank, the racy tank, as we call it. Which is really not a bad idea. I think in real time it wastes like 12 seconds, but it's definitely more worth than dying. And even like, if you have more health, then you can also do a few strats here and there which are more energy intensive, so like boosting through lava and stuff like that, or through phasing, which saves a bit time here and there. And now RealBread got the 3 dashes up. They're not particularly hard, but they're not really easy either. You can miss them, and if you miss them, then you also lose quite a bit of time. Actually, I think DCR is catching up slowly. Also, usually you don't skip this cutscene because the community goes by in-game time, and during cutscenes, well, in-game time doesn't flow. So, and the cutscene warps you back forwards if you skip it later or don't skip it, so you actually go a bit further without losing in-game time. But of course, since this tournament is for RTA, you skip it. Oh, and DCR failed the dash to boost ball. So I think RealBread is, yeah, pretty sure he's going to do Wave Stun. So he's going to go at a bounce here, and the only reason why he does that is just to make the game think he's in a different room than he actually is. And that has a few interesting properties. So the most important property of that is that you can morph next to a wall and get stuck, and he will abuse that to get infinite speed and get Wave Beam and the Artifact of Sun at the same time. So now he has to climb up Josiah's temple. Alright, so you saw how we transitioned to the next room, and you can also see on the map in the top right that the game thinks like he's in that room. But so yeah, what that does is that 3 rooms are currently loaded. So the room the game thinks he's in, Josiah's temple, which is the room he's actually in, and the room with Wave Beam. So now we're getting dark next to the wall. What it does is that he can build up rotational speed exponentially, and With that, he can overflow the value and set it to not a number or a short NaN. And with that, well, he triggers infinite speed. So it is a very weird glitch, and the important part about infinite speed is that if you boost with infinite speed, you hit like almost everything that's currently loaded. So what he will do is that he will boost and then get 2 items at the same time, because he hits them. And those are Wave Beam and the Artifact of Sun. And usually to get Sun, you're supposed to get Plasma Beam, so it skips kind of big detour. There's also another way to get infinite speed here, but it is in a room with Wave Beam, so you would have to fight Sheegoth. And DCR had quite a lot of trouble getting out of bounds there. I think he failed the dash or something. I didn't quite catch that. But he lost quite some time there. And usually it takes like around 50-60 seconds until you have infinite speed. So if you wonder where both are heading now, they are both going back to Chozo Runes, and they're going to abuse infinite speed again to get power bombs early, and will also collect, I think, only one artifact, yeah, Life Giver, which can only get with Wave Beam. Well, technically, you could get it without Wave Beam, but then you're stuck in the room forever. Which is not really useful in a speedrun. Or not even useful in anything. tucked away in the room RealBread is in at the moment. There's also Wave Buster, but well, it's not worth it in any percent. If you had more missiles, then I think it would be actually worth it, but it wastes so many missiles when you use it that it's just not reliable at all. Not any worth it. So RealBread is now heading towards Magma Pool. Then he will get stuck between a crate and the wall. And with that he will get infinite speed. And he is there to get Power Bomb expansion early. And that is actually the Power Bomb expansion that the Test gets early on. The basic idea of getting this before bombs, which the Test does, is that you do a dash into this room while this room loads, and you want to be on a very specific position when the room is finished loading, so you still want to get the power bomb expansion there, but you want to drop out of bounds again, because if you like stay in bounds and the room loads around you, then you won't get out of the room. You're just stuck in there forever. So you have to be on a very specific height, so you get the power bombs but still fall through the floor. Hey, DCR getting that hole in one. So RealBread is standing up here and morphing again to fix the camera. The reason why it works there is because there is a camera trigger or a relay or something that will just fix the camera to a certain precision. And you use that to be able to boost, because usually if you boost with infinite speed, you, like I said, hit almost everything that is currently loaded, and you not only lose a lot of energy because you hit like almost everything, like all enemies, it's also that you can easily crash the game. And RealBread is doing IBBFAF now, which is short for Ice Beam before Flagra after Flagra. The reason why this wall crawl has this stupid name now is because usually this wall crawl was used to get Ice Beam early, even like before Flagra, but now you do the same wall crawl after you beat Flagra just because it saves time in this route. And it also summed up saves like a minute real time. So in this tournament it actually makes a lot of sense to do this wall crawl. In game time it doesn't even save that much time alone. I think that's like 25 seconds. And if you add Ghost Skip to it, then it's another 20 seconds, I think. Yep. Also, the reason why RealBread just went kind of slowly there towards the transition, and that is because if you go too far, then you trigger the ghost fight, and that will lock the door you just warped in. And there is a backup strat though, but it is slower. So you want to go a bit slow here and take it a bit faster later on. And DCR is doing IBBFAF as well. But he has trouble finding the low trigger. There he goes. So yeah, the low trigger there for this room is kind of a bit stupid. It just extends on the corner. And RealBread is heading towards X-Ray. And the reason why you need X-Ray is Omega Pirate. You just can't deal damage on him if you don't have X-Ray. And you need to actually like really pull it up to deal damage. And there's no way around that, and you need to kill Omega Pirate to get Face and Suit, which you need for Metroid Prime, the last boss in the game. So both actually got a pretty decent IBBFAF. It can easily happen that you just fall down somewhere. And if you fall down, then, well, it's not really easy to recover because of the way that bounce works. You basically have to ether jump up, and ether jumps are 3-frame perfect rate. You need to hit 3-frame windows after another. And you also want to find a corner, because if you just ether jump up normally, then if you miss one, then you just fall all the way down again. And it just eats up a lot of time. So if you wonder where RealBread is heading now, he's going to Magmar now to get Plasma Beam. And Plasma Beam is another required item. And after that he will go to Farfendrana and then to Mines. And you need Plasma basically for both Farfendrana and Mines, which is pretty fitting for the route. So RealBread is going to do a scan dash here. Usually you're supposed to use Spider Ball to get across, but there are actually a couple of ways to get past without Spider Ball. One of them is the scan dash here, which is the easiest way. And then there's also an art jump you can do. And you can also do a bunny hop across. And even if you miss that, there is like a backup bomb jump you can do out of the lava. And here RealBread skip grapple beam cut by just jumping on a few platforms to get up here. And you're also supposed to use Spider Ball, but since you can stand on like almost everything in Metroid Prime, you can also just skip it here. Spider Ball is an item that gets skipped like almost everywhere in the game. It's pretty crazy. Here you see all those Spider Ball tracks. You're actually supposed to go like all around the room. So even like in 100% you just don't do this huge maze thing. Also I think in the IBBF route you don't have Spider Ball at that point, but still. Actually, I think these are caught up a little bit there. Probably some better movement, but I don't know for sure. So again, since you can stand on almost everything, you can just jump up there instead of using Spider Ball. So the only reason why you go to Farfendrana is because there are two artifacts. And conveniently, there's also a thermal visor. So you get that as well. So RealBread is not going to get Powerbomb expansion in Fenrir's Edge, which means that he will have to get a Powerbomb drop in labs and pray a little bit for RNG. Usually you get one, but if RNG hates you, then, well, you can get fucked. And you have to search a half eternity for a Powerbomb drop. Also, the way drops work in this game is basically in every room there is a table, or well, actually there is a spreadsheet we have, and so in each room there are certain enemies, and each enemy has like its own sort of drop value. So it can mean that, like, for example, you have two rooms and the same enemy, but they can both have extremely different drops. Like, even in this, two enemies in the same room can have different drops. There are drop generators in this game, and depending on like which enemies or which boxes are connected to it, it will spawn certain drops with certain probabilities, and even like if it spawns a drop is kind of dependent. Can actually link it. So yeah, what RealBread did is you can just shoot a missile above the wall there and just hit the explosive next to the tower. What you're supposed to do is go like up the tower and then use plasma beam to melt ice, and then you can shoot through, but it is faster to just jump over and shoot over the fence. Also, I didn't pay attention if RealBread got the powerbomb drop. He probably did. Also, didn't pay attention on DCR if he got the Fenrir's Edge powerbomb expansion, but I don't think he got those. Well, for shooting to the tower, there's actually a setup. Like, you line up on a very specific point, and well, and you just jump above the fence and shoot a missile. That's basically how it works. The collision doesn't extend too high, luckily, so you can shoot above it. About what that is, yeah, I would say like about 1 minute. Probably a bit more, like 1 or 2 minutes. And yeah, the reason why you need a power bomb drop before is because in this room you have to blow up some rumble to get to lower mines. And actually, as a sort of backup, you could go out of bounds in workstation, but that is pretty slow. Looks like DCR fell in Frozen Pike. That is one stupid thing about running this game. There are a few vertical rooms where if you fall down, you lose straight up like 30 seconds up to a minute, depending on where you fall down. And it can be very annoying. So I didn't pay attention if RealBread skipped the cutscene. So basically there's a cutscene for the Elite Pirate, but you can jump up there without triggering it, which is faster RTA, but for IGT you just boost into the cutscene, let it run out and then jump up. So on RealBread side, you saw how to fight elite pirates. Basically, they first try to get eye contact, and if they don't succeed, they just turn around stupidly, and you can just rapid fire missile them while turning next to them. And also upcoming is the Powerbomb Maze. The Powerbomb Maze is entirely random, and there are 300 possible mazes, and they are from 15 square up to the worst 55 square. And I don't know which maze RealBread got there. Well, I guess there was an average maze. So as you saw on DCR said, there are also actually a few possibilities to jump up there, and one of them is to jump on the Elite Pirate. And RealBread is heading towards lower mines. And this area is particularly a bit hated because, first of all, there are some rooms where if you fall down then you can lose a lot of time. And they are not that easy to do fast. And there are also a lot of Metroids and space pirates, which can be very annoying. RealBread has some trouble jumping up. So you do a slope jump here. And it is a little bit awkward because above it there's some like ceiling that just kills all your speed. And it's not a very easy slope jump either. Beginners usually have quite a lot of problem with that, especially if you many people that try to do it for the 12-hour challenge, or at least try it, I would say, because most of them get spider ball now. But in the early sun route, you skip spider ball, and then you have to do this room without spider ball, which is quite annoying at first. And RealBread losing some time again. Waiting for another cycle on the glider. And also in this room, you can go out of bounds and get newborn early with a wall crawl, but it's not recommended. Even at the point where those players are in. Like, they're really good players, but even for them it would not be worth it. And DCR also having some problems with the Metroids. So RealBread is going to fight Omega Pirates. So the first thing he's doing is he's boosting to the side and skips the cutscene. And just as normal elite pirates, Omega Pirate also tries to get like eye contact first and just turns around stupidly. And makes his first part very easy. So now he will place a power bomb to skip like an animation, so which actually saves like 4 or 5 seconds. And you can also skip some pirates that are supposed to come at that point, and he was successful. So now in this phase, that's actually the phase where you actually deal damage to him. And the way Omega Pirate works is that you always spawn in the pool that is the farthest away that was not the previous pool. So you can manipulate him to spawn on certain pools, and then you know where he's going to spawn and can just shoot him down. And it was a pretty good Omega Pirate fight. You can also lay a power bomb at the end, which is faster a little bit, but it is also a bit riskier. And also, you see that the cutscene shows Gravity Suit instead of Phasing Suit, and that is because the game gets a little bit confused. You're supposed to have Gravity Suit at that point, and the game just increases your like suit value by 1, and the one above normal various suit is Gravity Suit. So yeah, just Gravity Suit instead of Phasing Suit, which is just after Gravity. And DCR, as you can see, it can spawn some pirates, which RealBread's managed to skip. It's also random which color they have, and depending on your color, you need like different time to kill them. And wave pirates are bad RNG, because you need a lot of time to kill them. But he got the power bomb strat, which is really nice. So RealBread is, I think, like 1.5 minutes ahead, but that can change now pretty easily, and even on the very end, because you can lose a lot of time in the next part, which is spiralized shafts, and then of course endgame with excellent essence. And yeah, the reason why you getting newborn early is because you cut out this backtrack after you get Phase suit. Also, the reason why it only shows the morph, the Varia morph ball model is because there's only Phase suit model for the morph ball with Spider Ball, and they both skipped Spider Ball, so the game doesn't really know which morph ball to choose, so it just takes the Varia. So RealBread is attempting to skip the cutscene trigger for the lead pirate here. And it is invisible, but it is there, and if you hit it, then you lose, especially real time. In in-game time, it's not that bad, because it can just rapid fire missile the elite pirate, but there are 2 cutscenes, so it wastes a bunch of real time. And I don't know what's happening on RealBread's side. I don't know what's up with his stream. Alright. So DCR with, and he got the lead pirate skip. And he shot a box there to go get another missile drop because he needs 24 for face on elite pirate, which he has to fight to get another artifact. And now we can see the first spatula shaft on DCR's side. So this room is elevator access A, and usually you're supposed to use Spider Ball to get up there, but since this is Metroid Prime and you can stand on like almost everything, you can do a few tricks to get up there. So the first thing he does here is something we call a bomb space jump. And the way it works is that 21 frames after you leave the ground with Morph Ball, the game still like gives you the possibility to jump. Usually that doesn't matter because of the unmorph animation is longer than 21 frames, so yeah, usually if you unmorph, you can't jump anymore. But if you get an instant unmorph out of the bomb jump, then you can jump out of that and use it to get more height. And now DCR is doing the second shaft. Usually this shaft is seen as the easier one of the two. The only problem with that is that one rock, it has a bit weird collation and it's a bit tricky to find a standable spot. And RealBread is successfully exiting or processing. Just like the last sort of difficult part of mines. And the reason why there's a cutscene here is because that's actually the way you're supposed to enter mines. Like, you're supposed to enter it from this side and exit from the other side, but we did it like all the way around. Entered from the back and exited from the front. So yeah, the cutscene trigger is still there. And DCR also pretty much done with mines. Or at least with the hard stuff. I don't know how far apart those two are, but it should be too much. And DCR can definitely make it up on final bosses. Because final bosses can make a huge difference, actually. And RealBread is to attempt Ghost Skip. So there is a huge trigger in this room which triggers the Ghost Fight, and if you trigger the Ghost Fight, then you can't activate the bomb slots. So you want to not touch the trigger, which is a bit tricky. Actually, I have never done Ghost Skip because I don't do IBB FAF, but it's definitely not easy. And he got it successfully. Also, of course, in a real-time setting, you also save real-time by doing Ghost Skip. So DCR is trying to get Ghost Skip as well now. Okay, looks like he didn't trigger it so far. And he's dead. So now he has to fight this Josie Ghost. But with X-Ray, it's not that bad. So RealBread got all the artifacts except for Truth, but that is an artifact temple where we need to go anyways, so it's going to Enkin now, and he will fight Ridley next. And RealBread's screen stopped again. Looks like he has some internet issues with his stream. Oh, looks like DCR is about 2 minutes behind. And, well, I can't see what's going on RealBread's side. So the way the Ridley fight works is that first of all you shoot arched plasma shots on Ridley, and there is a trick we call flyway scope, which is frame perfect tricks where if you hit it on exactly one specific frame, then he will skip the flyby animation and goes like straight on the platform. And it saves 30 seconds. It looks like DCR did not get it. I don't know about RealBread. DCR is trying to get a mid-air boost. So another strat is while he's flying around, you can hit him with Boost Ball. And Boost Ball deals 50,000 damage per frame. And apparently Ridley is vulnerable to it, so you can break a lot of health with that. Okay. And yeah, in the second phase you should charge beam shots and then missiles towards the weak point. There's also a glitch we call a Ridley invincibility glitch, where when he wields his weak point, then for some reason he's still like takes no damage. It's kind of weird. So RealBread is on Metro Prime, the last bosses in this game, and the way you want to fight it is you want to basically shoot charge shots because they deal just a lot more damage. Just as an example, a charged power beam shot deals 50 damage and an uncharged deals 2 damage. So charge beam comes very handy in that fight. And you can also do those snipes, where you can like deal damage for the next phase. And that's especially important if Prime switches from like a phase with a strong beam. There are two beams that are pretty strong against Prime, which are Ice Beam and Plasma Beam, and Power and Wave Beam are pretty weak. So if he switches from Ice Beam or Plasma Beam to Wave Beam or Power Beam, and you hit both snipes, then that means the Prime is like almost dead and you don't have to spend an eternity with the weak beams. And also, regarding the colors, so the way it works is that in the first chamber, Prime will always use charge and wave beam color in a random order. In the next one, it's charge, wave, ice in a random order. And the third one, it's all 4 beams in a randomized order. And the last chamber is entirely random. It can change colors anytime. And another thing to notice is that both runners try to get very close to Prime when they fight it, and they do that to manipulate it to its swift attack, or that swipes like forward, and that is just pretty convenient. Like, you can conveniently shoot charge shots on Prime with that. So RealBread is now done with Prime EXO. Now we only have to finish Essence, but Essence is also, well, a fight where you can lose a lot of time. So the way this fight works is that Essence will spawn pools, and then you just like pulls out of phase-in, and then you step into them and shoot phase-in beam on it. But there are 2 tricks you can do. So one of them is that you can step out of the pool while shooting, and that causes the pool to not drain any phase-in while shooting. So with that trick you can kill Metroid Prime in 2 pools. But RealBread is doing a different strat here, which we call a 3 pool. So he's shooting Essence at a certain rhythm, and he always shoots it just after it starts an animation, and what that does is that it makes the next pool spawn earlier. RealBread on his third pool. But he had a bit trouble with the Metroids. Also, another important thing to note on Essence is that it can skip a pool. If it's too close to its torso, then it will just not spawn a pool and waste about 30 seconds, which is very annoying. And DCR is also getting to Essence now. And RealBread is done. Looks like DCR is not getting lucky with the pool placement. Usually you want it to place a pool as far away as possible from the torso, so it'll probably not skip a pool. And it looks like he's also going for a 3 pool. His real time is 1:25:08. That's pretty good. And DCR finishing 1:26:27. So RealBread's in-game time is 1:05. So let's see DCR's in-game time. .105 as well. So here you can see a reason why this tournament is in real time instead of in-game time. Also,